The desert remembers everything. Every storm, every footprint, every secret buried beneath its shifting skin. For thousands of years, it has guarded one mystery above all others, a structure so precise, so impossible, that even our modern world struggles to explain it. The Great Pyramid of Giza was never meant to be a simple tomb. It was built to outlast kingdoms, rewrite history, and protect a truth that was older than the civilization that raised it. For centuries, explorers believed the pyramids were monuments to power. But the deeper archaeologists dug, the stranger the story became. Beneath layers of sand and shattered stone, they found clues, symbols, alignments, hidden chambers that didn't fit the official timeline. Clues suggesting the Egyptians knew far more about mathematics, astronomy, and engineering than any culture of their age should have. And the first hint came from the sky. When early scholars mapped the pyramid's orientation, they expected imperfections. Instead, they discovered something shocking. The pyramid faced true north, with an accuracy modern compasses struggle to replicate. A margin of error, less than 3/60ths of a degree. For a civilization with no metal tools capable of such precision, the alignment wasn't just remarkable, it was unexplainable. Someone, somehow, had measured the Earth with a level of mastery we still don't fully understand. But the mystery didn't end there. The pyramid's dimensions were even stranger. The base perimeter, when divided by twice its height, produced 3.1416, the value of pi, accurate to 4 decimal places. Egyptologists dismissed it as coincidence, but archaeologists weren't convinced. Too many features lined up too perfectly. Too many ratios matched constants the ancient world shouldn't have known. If the Egyptians did this intentionally, then they weren't simply building a monument. They were encoding knowledge. Knowledge the desert tried desperately to hide. In 1925, deep beneath the plateau, a team uncovered a sealed shaft no one had entered for thousands of years. Inside lay a simple chalice, a fragment of wood, and a series of faded inscriptions. Nothing extraordinary at first glance, until they realized the symbols were older than the pyramid itself, older than the dynasties that claimed to have built it. They belonged to a culture that had vanished long before the pharaohs rose to power. The discovery was quietly archived, rarely spoken of again. Because if the Egyptians inherited knowledge rather than invented it, everything we knew about the origins of civilization would change. But some clues refused to stay buried. In the 1980s, researchers studying the pyramid's air shafts, long thought to be symbolic or decorative, found they weren't random at all. One shaft aligned with Orion's belt, another with Sirius, the brightest star in the night sky. A third pointed toward the North Star, and when they traced the angles backward through time, they realized something unsettling. The alignments matched the night sky, not from the pyramid's era, but from nearly 2,500 years earlier. Either the Egyptians designed a monument based on a sky they never saw, or they were preserving something far older. Still, skeptics insisted it was all chance, until the robots arrived. In 1993, a small machine was sent into one of the southern shafts. For years, the passage had been too narrow, too unstable for humans to enter. The robot crawled through the darkness, inch by inch, until it reached a tiny limestone door sealed with copper pins. It was like no door found anywhere else in Egypt. When researchers drilled a small hole and inserted a camera, they expected an empty space behind it. Instead, they found another door. Someone had gone to remarkable lengths to keep whatever lay beyond sealed away. Not for decades, not for centuries, for millennia. And this raised a disturbing question. What were they protecting? Theories exploded. Some believed the chamber held lost writings of an older civilization. Others suggested religious relics, star maps, or early technologies. But one theory sent shockwaves through the archaeological world. The chamber might predate Egypt entirely. Because deep below the sands, another discovery added fuel to the fire. A series of tunnels stretching beneath the plateau revealed architectural patterns the Egyptians never used. Narrow corridors with precision-cut blocks and ventilation designs that didn't match any known structure from their era. And at the center of it all, a perfectly smooth stone vault, with no inscriptions, no artifacts, and no explanation. Its purpose remains unknown. But something did survive inside it. On the western wall, a faint pattern of scratches, aligned, deliberate, repeating, matched star clusters visible only thousands of years before the pyramid's construction. Someone had encoded a celestial map into the stone, a map from an age before Egypt existed. And this is where the story takes its darkest turn. Because when researchers compared the star map to pre-dynastic artifacts, they found evidence that early Egyptians knew of cycles, astronomical, environmental, even cataclysmic, that stretched back tens of thousands of years. They recorded floods, droughts, and a great darkness that scarred the land long before written history. To them, the pyramids weren't symbols of power. They were safeguards. Massive stone anchors meant to preserve knowledge against the passage of time. Weighted markers tied to the sky itself, pointing future generations toward truths that could not be trusted to memory alone. And the evidence didn't stop at astronomy. Inside the pyramid's grand gallery, the stone walls resonate at specific frequencies, not random ones. Frequencies tied to mathematical harmonics. Some researchers believe the structure was designed to amplify natural vibrations, storing energy from the earth itself. Others argue it functioned as a kind of ancient instrument, used in rituals that blended architecture with sound. Either way, the effect is undeniable. When the right tone is played inside, the walls hum. They sing. Was this intentional? Or just another coincidence too perfect to ignore? To answer that, archaeologists turn to the Nile. Every year, the river flooded, shaping life and death in equal measure. But during certain centuries, when the waters rose unusually high, the lower chambers of the pyramid would have filled, briefly, before draining back into the earth. The pattern matched scars on the stone, watermarks that shouldn't exist in a tomb. Suddenly, a new possibility emerged. What if the pyramid was designed to harness the river? Not for farming, but for power? Some believe the structure functioned as a massive hydraulic engine. Others argue it was a symbolic rebirth chamber, channeling the forces of nature into rituals tied to the pharaoh's afterlife. Yet the most controversial theory suggests something far more profound, that the pyramid was built to store knowledge through catastrophe, floods, famine, fire, cycles that destroy civilizations and erase their memories. The Egyptians understood these cycles better than we do. They believed the world had been remade before and would be remade again. And they built the pyramids not as monuments to themselves, but as warnings to whoever survived the next collapse. And maybe as guides. Because when researchers traced the pyramids' angles across the desert, they discovered they pointed toward ancient sites scattered thousands of miles apart, stone circles, forgotten temples, buried observatories, a web of locations connected by geometry, not politics, as if the pyramid was the center point of a map spanning continents. A map left behind for a world that hadn't yet been born. So what was the real purpose of the Great Pyramid? A tomb? A machine? A monument? A message? The truth is this: no single explanation fits everything we've found. The precision, the alignments, the hidden chambers, the ancient star maps, the water patterns, the mathematical codes, each piece reveals a civilization whose knowledge rivals our own. But the greatest mystery isn't how they built it. It's why. Because in every scroll, every carving, every forgotten chamber, the Egyptians left one final warning: all that has happened will happen again. And perhaps, the pyramid stands waiting for the next time we need its message.